So here I'm inside of Substance 3D Painter, and usually when I start a project, I'll start with a baking, and when I've done my baking, I usually set the texture baking size at a low number. For example, have the size at 2048 now. You can have it on a 512. It's very low if you want to, just so the when your workflow when you start to work, the workflow is smooth, because if you start working with 4096, it's going to be pretty slow. So I start with a usually a low number, but right now I'm at 2048. But when I start, for example, painting my character, like painting my face here, I usually start with this little bucket here and push that and add this fill layer. And you can see I have a bunch of different types here of material: color, height, rough, metal, normal, and I also added different other materials that I want to work with. But for now, I'm going to keep it simple, just short and simple. And I always start with color, so I press Alt and the left click, so I don't have to push everything. And I always trying to find like a peachy color, uh, and a light one as a base, not that exaggerated, but I'm going to do that later. But I try to find some peachy color that I like. Let's go with this one as a base, and I double click and I write base, and I usually duplicate this. And you can go with a shortcut by clicking Control D, but if you don't know that, you can right click, and here you can see that it's duplicate layers, and you push that, and you're going to have the same layer on top of the one that you created. But instead of using the same color, we're going for something more exaggerated, a little bit darker. So let's push it, like for example there, and this time we're going to right click and go and add a black mask. What the black mask does is that now I can paint wherever I want on the character. I can paint in this color, as you can see, but that's not the effect that I want to. So let's click Alt Control Z, and we are going to right click and add a generator. And now you can see this coming pops up here, down here, and you create generator and go to curvature, and you see that something is happening here, that this dark color has been put on into the face. But this is not actually the effect that I'm going for. So what we're going to do, I want the dark color to be like a shadow, like AO, for example. So I right click again and add levels, and here it pop up levels properties. But I want, like I said before, I want another effect here, so I push invert, and as you can see here is where the dark color that I had goes into the, like the cavities and stuff like that. For example, in those nose drills inside, the dark colors are where I want them to be. So, but they are very exaggerated, but you can, with these little numbers here, 0, 1, 1 here down, you can push it, as you can see. Now the whole character is dark, but I'm not after that effect, just want a little bit of that, so we can push it there, but I don't want it to be like that hard marking like that. You see, it's very hard, so I want us like a softer effect. So you can see I'm going to put it very intense just for the sake of the video, so you can add a generator again, and there you can have let's see, you can add a filter, sorry, and inside of that you click filter and you search for blur. Okay, so now and we have the blur here, see the intensity, and with the help of the blur it's softened. You can see here, do you see effect? You can push it harder. Now push the blur, it's getting more softer. So, but now for the sake of the video, I'm just showing some easy steps or my workflow when I create skins for my characters, and that's often what I go for when I start my character. And after that I always try to, for example, use another fill layer. I tap alt click and try to find a bluish color, a very blue exaggerated color for the like the veins that we have inside of, like in the skin there where the skin is very thin, for example around the eyes and stuff like that. So I add a black mask so I can paint inside of this. As a tap I go to the little pencil and you have different brushes. I usually go with something soft, like we can take basic soft for example, and I have this one clicked. For example, if you don't have this one, this is symmetry, so if I don't have that clicked, you can see that it's going to paint only on one side. And I usually, when I do the base colors, I usually want to have symmetry on, and then I'm going to paint, for example, the bluish color around the eye. Now I'm not going to do it very fine, but I can see here around the, for example, the nose there, a little bit on the mouth, for example, on the side of the head, for example, just to showcase it. And when I'm done with this, usually what I do is I play with this one, little tap here, and I scroll it down because I don't want it to be that hard. So you can do it there, you can like push it down so it feels very nice. Doesn't look like that I'm painted some paint on or something like that. We can put veins here. Then I take another fill layer, alt click and search for a color, and I take a red one, a reddish, very red color, and this color could be, you can write red tone, and we add a black mask again, and I go for another pencil like dirt 3. You can go for dirt 3 and take down the size, and usually I paint the red color where, for example, the cheek, on the nose, for example, on this things that I created. And now I'm not working with a pencil, but usually it's better to use it with a Wacom pen, or what pen you choose for your likings, and you draw those colors all around those places. You put it there. Just by showcasing, I'm going to do it very fast. As the same I did with the blue color, I take down the intensity just so it doesn't look so exaggerated. It's there, but very soft, you see. Right? So for the sake of the video, I'm going to make it a short one, but this is usually the workflow that I use when I create my skins for the character. So now I'm going to take off those that I created, and I'm going to show you the end result of the that have been created. So this is the effect that I came with, and usually I put them inside of groups. I usually go down there, and there you have a folder. So all the roughness and all the colors that I've been doing just for that type of effect, I put it down in the folders, right? For example, roughness, and then I have a folder. So I don't, because when you're working in Substance 3D Painter, you can easily lose yourself working with many layers. For example, as you can see, I pushed them down. If I wouldn't have a folder, it would all be like this. So it's very confusing sometimes. So it's better to have folders, add folders, and it's very structured for yourself. It's easier to have control on the things that you're doing. So that's my workflow inside of Substance 3D Painter.